Today's topic, Bodhicitta, or Changchup Sem in Tibetan, and then contemplating on the meanings we have learned, and lastly, through meditation itself, the result of, meaning the understanding of Bodhicitta. I'm afraid it may not be complete, it may not be substantial. Enlightened mind or enlightened heart, it's probably a direct translation of Bodhicitta. But what does that mean? What does enlightened mean? What does enlightened heart or mind mean? If we really ask ourselves, we may have no idea about it whatsoever. It will be something like trying to describe the color of a flower that grows in some distant universe. The shape, the fragrance, the size, and so on. Maybe we should try to get to the topic, Bodhicitta, by focusing on something that we already have some idea. For example, impermanence, the word that I was using this morning as well as yesterday, probably that's something that we all have some direct experience. Change is something that we see every day, every moment, right here, right now. It's clear, it's vivid. Switch on the switches for the lights. You can see that there are countless of experience just within the 24 hours that we experience, that we go through. There are so many forms of changes, drastic ones, simple ones. Through all of these experiences, without having to have a religion or a philosophy or a degree of any kind, we are able to experience that things are changing all the time. And so therefore, I think that must be one of the reasons why Bodhicitta-Muni, historical Bodhicitta-Muni, taught the Four Noble Truths, and from the very first Noble Truth was that of impermanence. We may be a little bit curious or doubtful about, I thought the first Noble Truth was about suffering, not about impermanence. And so, what is he talking about? And the thing is, if he says something obvious in the first place, some of us might be attentive, but most of us might not be impressed. And so therefore, Buddha had to somehow pinpoint a particular point of a drastic aspect of change, drastic aspect of impermanence. And so therefore he talked about basically the truth of suffering, truth of dukkha. And dukkha itself, dukkha is a Sanskrit word, if you are wondering. It basically means confusion, anxiety, pain, on a mental level and even on a physical level. And now that's something striking, yes, that impresses us. Sometimes it may impress us in a very powerful way that we might feel a little bit agitated by it. So therefore, it's a topic that we don't use. For example, when we exchange pleasantries, we say, good morning, how are you, how do you do, and so on. We don't talk about dukkha right away. because then immediately there's a awkward silence and all kinds of things. So therefore, but however here, not that Buddha wanted to impress people, but he wanted to focus on a truth and a striking aspect of the truth. Impermanence directly doesn't mean pain. It doesn't directly mean suffering or dukkha. It's just that dukkha or anxiety occurs when we choose to somehow neglect that fact, neglect that truth, that's ever-present truth in our life, in life in general. And when we try to somehow push that aside, and we create little rooms, little spaces for anxiety, basically. Because it's just like time, you know. If you look at a clock, it ticks, it just keeps going. From one millisecond to another, it just keeps ticking. You cannot say, hang on for a minute, hang on for a moment. It won't stop. It's unstoppable, it's inevitable. And same thing, impermanence is just like that. That is impermanence, in fact. And the more we choose to somehow push that fact aside, then at the end, just like time itself, then at the end what we will experience is the pressure of deadline, the pressure of time being taken. And that's when now sort of evident anxiety or confusion or dukkha, arises. I think that's how basically Buddha saw or experienced what is known as the so-called samsaric-like functions. That big aspect of life occurs from the moment we push aside that inevitable truth. We try to, we do all sorts of things to somehow forget that fact. And the moment we do that, and right there, and right then, that's when there is dukkha actually. One could say that we are kind of fortunate that we don't experience that subtlety when we do that, when we sort of push aside the truth. We only experience it when the result occurs. When we initiate that pushing aside process, we hardly notice. In a way, we are quite lucky about it. But for someone like an arhat or a bodhisattva or a Buddha, of course, they are able to detect that subtlety, that very minute subtlety, that the moment we do that, the moment we have an intention of just pushing that aside, they can already experience or one could say that dukkha in a way. Somehow one could say that the realized beings are far more sensitive than us, And so in some ways we are far tougher. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, it's up for grabs, but that is the fact, I think. That's what Buddha saw. Of course, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are able to detect those subtleties, not because they are born special, not because they are different from us. Simply, they can detect it, and that itself is a fact, that itself is a proof that they were, at one point, just like us. Because if they were not, they would not be able to detect those subtleties. Because at one point they were just like us, they are able to detect all of those facts. On the other hand, we too can experience those subtleties if we are focused enough, if we are calm enough, if we are concentrated enough, we can also detect those subtleties. So, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are able to detect all of those subtleties constantly because of their awareness, the level of awareness, which are known as abilities, of course, yes, powers, supernatural powers. In fact, it is not. It's not really supernatural powers. It's an ability gained from hard work. It's an ability gained from perseverance, from patience. They are able to detect all of those attitudes, of course, beginning within themselves, by themselves also. You know? And in time, they're able to detect the same of others. Again, not because of supernatural powers, but because of the fact that we are all the same. That we breathe just the same, we go through our lives, we go through our daily activities in the same manner, that there is no difference whatsoever because of our background, culture, mentality, language, does not matter. As long as we have this physical body, then we are able to experience all of this. And that's what the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas experience. That's what they see. A few words about impermanence. Some of us might be now wondering, if we're attentive enough, we might be wondering, okay, now, that's true, but how does that relate to bodhicitta? How does that relate to enlightened mind or enlightened heart? And it is only through, I think, realizing these basic facts that we will come to a point where basically we feel that, okay, if this is the situation now, what do we do about it? We don't want to be consumed by anxiety, confusions, and so on. You know? And so therefore, the search for a remedy, a search for a guide, then begins to grow within oneself. Without having to have someone saying, you must do this now, you must do that now. And almost like a dictator, you know, saying that you must live your life like this and not like that. So what Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, what they do is that they are so experienced that so much that they are able to present, actually provide support, provide help in such a way that it's not imposing at all. You know? They will provide the truth. The truth in this case is the translation of the Buddha Dharma. Dharma basically means like truth or nature or facts and information, how things are. And Buddha Dharma is basically facts and information about clarity information. Probably that's one translation of Buddha Dharma. And so therefore, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they will provide the truth, the thing that we need